starting from where we left and moving on to the view controller.swift. And okay, so this is pretty good, interesting, and enough for us to work with. Now what we want to do in this particular movie is just to play, pause and stop and kind of a scrub and volume adjustment on this google.mp3 file. Okay, not a very big task, but the assignment that I'll be giving you is going to be a little bit time consuming based on that. So first thing that I always recommend is to define a path. So let's say that our path is going to be, you can name the variable anything. So let path is equals to ns bundle, and wherever you placed, again, it doesn't really matter. You just need to access it. And I'll be selecting path for resource. And the string name for this one is Google, all lowercase, and is of type MP3. Of course, we are going to play an MP3 movie. So I have defined path as my variable because I'll be using that quite a lot in my movie. And I should have a player variable as well. But again, I forgot that I need to first import the functionality for that. And what is that functionality? Yes, it's AV Foundation. Okay, you are learning quite a bit. Nothing to be worried about. Okay, so player, and what class is that? Yes, first we need to infer it as in, yes, you guessed it again, it should be AV audio player, and it's suggesting it because we have typed that already in the one of the previous movie. And that is going to be an object of AV audio player class, and that's it, an empty object. Okay, nothing fancy yet. So the first thing that I always recommend to the user is to move on to the function where it says that view did load. So let's do that. And here's my view did load. As soon as the view is loaded, what you might want to do is to put a try catch exception, because many times, because I cannot tell you even the numbers, but yes, these MP3 apps crashes even more than you can think of. So having a do, a simple function for that, and inside the do I want to try something. So what I want to try is player, and that player should be equals to AV audio player, and we are going to use the contents of the URL. Now this is what we want, so I'll be having ns URL, not EL. I cannot see from this big pop filter out here, but again, it's really useful. And this is what we want, ns file URL with the path. And what is our path? We have already defined the variable for that, nothing to be worried about. Okay, so let's save that, and it's what we are going to do. And it's prompting me any error. Did any error? Not yet. Let's just check it out, what's wrong with that. And yes, we need to make sure that we are putting up an exclamation on that because it's an optional string. So we'll do that, not just yet. Let me just close that, and in case it's complaining a lot, so let's try to do that. And we haven't finished yet, so I want to catch an exception and catch. And right now I don't want to do that, any exception catching. I just want to print just any value, because I want to make sure that I can look at my code that where the things are going wrong. Okay, that's good. That's the first thing that I always recommend. Now let's build up the functionality for that. So first thing that we'll be doing is inside the play is I want to play the audio, and the massive and the huge code for playing the player is player.play. What's the code? The massive 100 lines of codes for pausing the video is player.pause. Okay, so 100 lines of code. Okay, good so far. Now how to stop the movie, or simply have a stop functionality. Now stop functionality is something that I haven't talked about. Now what happens when you play on the movie, that this is actually your cue. Now as soon as the view is loaded, we are making sure that our cue is being reset and we are playing the audio. So that's what we want to do. There is no stop functionality, so you need to reset the cue, and this is the code for resetting the cue. Copy that, and inside my stop guy, first what you need to do is player dot pause that, and after that just reset the queue. So paste that. I would like to change this guy as to 2 so that if I get onto this exception, I can actually check my code at this place. So checking the logs and errors is going to be really good. Now it's a good point to run our app, and I'll run it on iPhone 6, and I think my simulator is somewhere around here and it's up and running. I can see that. Okay, here is the guy. And where is my beautifully named app? Here it is. And we are having that, and we all will be hearing me again inside the audio. Come on, load up. It's taking a little bit. Okay, so here it is. Let me play that. Stop that. Or pause that. Play again. Stop that. Play that again. Okay, so quite successful so far. We haven't done much about the volume and the slider. We'll do that in a moment. Nothing to be worried around. Okay, so first let's talk about the volume slider because that's the easy one. I like to mess around with the easy guys first because they are easy to do. So what in the volume we have done is to access the property, we have got a volume slider, and that is the function we have carried. So we want to adjust the volume, and it should be based on the player volume. So how you can do that? Let me have that. It says player dot, there is an option for the volume, and that volume should be equivalent to the slider value. So what you have to say is volume slider dot value and save that, and this is going to work. And now amazingly, it's not that much difficult, and there is a reason for that because a slider has got some default value for that. Now if I run this, and it is going to run a bit fast, and if I play that, we can see that the volume is getting down, and we can have a full volume of that. Now it is not going to record that because it's on the other side of the mic, so but still you can have a try on that. Now talking about that, I'll go back onto the storyboard, select on that, and make sure that you play around with this guy. You can see that there is a minimum value of 0 and the maximum value is 1, just like in this volume case. Now in the volume case, starting with this guy at the center is actually good. We want to start from an adequate and decent volume, but this guy on the play should be starting from the 0. So if I select that and make sure that my current value is 0, because I want to start my audio from the very start. Okay, that's the one thing. And just play around with this area. It's really nice. Coming back out here, and what we want to do is just one thing remaining, this guy, the scrub. And actually it's not that easy to mess around with the scrub, although it's not that much tough again, but it's easy. So first thing that you need to do is, first of all, there is a scrub slider. So let's try to have that. So this is the scrub slider, and we want to change the value of that based on that. So scrub slider dot value is going to be equal to the player current time. So if I say that player dot current time, now it is going to pop me an error. Now the error says we'll solve that error based on what appears. Now it says cannot assign the value of ns time interval, aka double, to type float. So we obviously guess that what we need to do is we need to typecast it, and that's how we do that. And it's not going to work yet because we are not done yet. Now it is not going to just update the value just like it happened to be doing in the case of the volume, but we can do that. And what we need to do is call one more function, but it should be calling that, we should be calling that inside the view did load, and we need to call the ns timer, and we need to update the schedule time interval based on whatever the current value of the mp3 is. So if I run this, let me just show you. It's actually easy to just show you rather than explaining. So if I play that, notice that it's not moving. It just moves on the first or the last. And stop that. And what we want to do is actually to make sure that it keeps on moving. And in order to do so, we need to do so. So I'll move into this block just below the try catch, and I'll be doing a strange thing. I'll be putting an underscore equals. Now this is a new technique in the Swift, and a lot of people are not yet used to do it. Even I'm not. So I'll need to call ns timer, and I'll tell you the reason why there is an underscore for that in just a moment. Bear with me. And there is a schedule time interval. Oops, I actually typed it wrong. That's why it's not suggesting me. ns timer dot schedule time interval, and we are looking for not this one, this guy with the selector. Now selector is just a function that you can define. Okay, so let's try to fill that value. How much, on what time sequence interval you want to update it? Every 1 second. What is your target? We are targeting the self view controller, or self as it is. And inside that we are having a selector function. So I'll have a, and we are looking for this guy. And after the selector, you need to pass on the function value as a string. So I'll call it as update me. You can call it anything. And we don't need to pass this guy, right? And boolean, yes, of course, please repeat. Okay, now we need to define this function because it's a selector. I'll be defining just about here. I'll be calling it as func, and this guy. Okay, so what we need to do inside the function, there is not going to be any rocket science inside that. We are going to update the value again out here. So what we'll be saying is simply the volume slider dot value is going to be equal to player dot current time, and that's the function in which we are going to do that. Now again, it's going to pop me the same nasty error that I cannot define, and always I try to solve this error in this manner. So it says yes, you need to typecast it again exactly the same. Okay, so I'll do that, and that's it. Okay, so I think we are done quite. We need to talk a little about this underscore. Now obviously this underscore actually is a topic which you study in your masters with the modern compiler design and the optimization of the compiler. That's the one necessary, because let's say you are creating a variable which you'll be not using or even not calling even at once, but still it's necessary to define that for calling a function. Then we are just wasting a variable or a memory space. Now underscore is a special technical thing that is being done in the Swift to optimize the compiler. There is nothing wrong with defining something like a as that. If I save that, it's nothing wrong. Your application will compile nicely, it will run, but it will consume a little bit tiny memory from your application. And while we are on a phone device, which are really low power energy, not that low power, but yes, they are low power energy devices running on a battery, and even the slightest memory change can make a huge difference, and this is being suggested out there. So I am trying to make a habit of using the underscore where I don't need to call my variable but still need to define them. So it's a good habit. It's not just one underscore you can define. You can define 10 underscore for various objects. So if I just say underscore is equals to 1 and I save that and I don't use that, it's perfectly okay. Again, the code is going to compile and it's not going to give me any error. But again, it's a memory wastage, so I'll be not doing. Save that and build that. Okay, so it looks good. Let me just run that again. Play the audio. And really, I did a nastiest mistake. I did actually. This is my volume, and I did wrote the accidentally code from this value. The scrub slider should be moving into the scrub slider value, and I did change the volume slider. I should be changing the scrub slider. Save that, run that again. Really, variable mistake, nothing much. Play the audio, and it's updating quite fast. I don't need that. So let me check that. And I have actually updated it on to 1 second. I should be slowing down, but again, it will not hurt you because it's a custom design MP3 file. It's not going to make much of that difference. And again, you got the idea how to do things. But again, if you feel any trouble that you don't understand with the things, you can drop me a message and I can simply design one more video. And how to solve this? Just move on to the view controller, and this is the audio guy that we are looking for. Bring this guy, and there is a 0 maximum, minimum, and 1 maximum, and there is what steps you want to actually move on that. So you can solve based on that. Now I'll be adding a little bit of comments to just show you what I have done extra in this movie. Now time for your assignment. Now what you have to do, move on to the storyboard. You will be dropping 5 images. You should be dropping 5 images onto this first view controller. Clicking on the first image should take you onto the second view controller, and in the second view controller all the options should be same, and a user should be able to play 5 songs in your app. So there should be a list of 5 songs. As soon as you click on the first song, he should be taken to the second screen where he can play, pause, and stop the volume. And the play and the pause button should be just one, not the 2 buttons. So I hope everyone can do that. It's a little bit time consuming. And make sure that you take a close look at the Google Wiki audio, because I'll be editing a little bit and solving that error on that. And I'll be leaving you comments based on what I do on that. Okay, so quite good. Let's go ahead and please make that app.